Okay, there we are.
There they go.
Okay, thanks for everyone's patience here this morning. And back on the agenda is item number one, tab number one, Washington County Commission on Aging, Area Agency on Aging's FY 2027 budget presentation. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm Amy Olak, the CEO for the Commission on Aging, and today I have with me my executive board members here. I have Al Martin, our treasurer, Tim Del Bruge, the vice president, and Ed Lowe, the president of our board. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Ed.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good
First
morning.
of all, I want to thank the county commissioners for the wonderful funding that you have given to the seniors in Washington County and their caregivers and those with disabilities. Done an outstanding job over the last several years, and I just want to let you know that not only do we appreciate it, but so do all the seniors in Washington County, so thank you. Each of you received a copy of our budget, and the good news is I'm not going to read it to you, okay? Rather, as an executive team with the board here today, we're going to just focus on a couple of important issues. Number one, the mandated community infrastructure. The Washington County Commission on Aging is the federally mandated and state-designated area agency on aging for Washington County under the Older Americans Act, responsible for planning, coordinating, and delivering aging services. County investment ensures compliance with federal and state requirements and positions the county to maximize outside funding streams. Population. We serve Washington County's fastest growing demographic, older adults. This rapid population growth is the primary driver behind the increasing demand for our services. This budget request will help stabilize and maintain service levels. However, it will not eliminate existing wait lists. Currently, more than 550 Washington County residents are waiting for services, including 315 individuals waiting for an appointment date to determine eligibility for services, and 140 individuals waiting to receive meals. Demand is expected to continue rising. According to projections from the Maryland Department of Planning, Washington County's population of age 65 and older is expected to grow by approximately 35% between the years of 2020 and 2035. Number-wise, that's roughly 30,000 residents to like 41,000 over that time, seniors. This significant demographic shift will continue to place increased pressure on aging and caregiver support services. I'd like to review the contents of our handout, and may we provide you with a copy?
They have it.
They have it. Thank you. You've been provided with a copy, so I'll review that briefly. Why should you, the county, invest in the Commission on Aging? We are trustworthy. We prioritize our clients' well-being, offering honest, transparent, and reliable service. We are good stewards of our finances. We have 3 audits per year. We utilize a comprehensive approach. We serve our clients where they are, holistically, helping them navigate the complexities of the long-term care programs and services to remain as independent for as long as possible.
Thank you.
We have a proven track record, identifying over $1 million annually in benefits for Washington County residents. The Maryland Department of Aging acknowledges our best practices in a variety of programs. Excellent program audit results. I want to acknowledge the generosity of the commissioners for their in-kind building space valued at $433,600. We appreciate that very much, and so do the seniors, particularly those that utilize the senior center. Our investment request this year is for an additional $300,000, which is the same percentage increase that we received last year, which is 21%. If granted, that would take our total investment, or the total county investment for seniors in Washington County, to $1,720,980. Again, using the same percentage of 21%. I would like to invite everyone here, the commissioners, to attend our gala, which is scheduled for April the 26th at St. James, starting at 6 o'clock. I'd like to see as many of you there as that can possibly attend, and perhaps maybe the county would consider sponsoring a table.
But may I interrupt you?
Yes, sir.
The cost of the gala per table?
1,000.
$1,000.
For a table of 6.
Well, if the commissioners would agree, I'd like to make a motion that we purchase a table to help support the gala. If that would be appropriate, President Barr, would that be all right? Motion to buy at least one table?
I would like to second that motion.
And I would recommend the funding be commissioner contingency funds.
Okay. Okay.
All in favor?
Motion and second. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
much.
That sends a great message to our community of support, and we really appreciate
Work on
it.
us, we might buy two.
Well, it's a table of 6, so that certainly covers most of you, and if you want a second one, just let us know. But we'll make sure we put the table in a wonderful position.
We're very thankful to St. James. It's always a wonderful location and a great event, and the food, and Amy and staff do such a wonderful job on lining up. It'll be a fun evening for everyone.
And Mr. Lou Scally would be our MC once again.
Good.
So, but anyway, thank you so much for that. It's a wonderful time, and the food is really good, prepared by St. James. And actually, Father Dunham will be able to attend this year, so we're looking forward to that. So, thank you. Thank you again. At this time, I'd like to turn over the presentation to our Vice President, Tim Delbridge. Tim?
Thank you all for taking a few minutes this morning to hear our presentation. I just want to point out a couple of things related to the numbers that you've already received related to the budget and why we're asking for the funding that we are. First of all, you'll notice that in the fiscal 25 column, we actually do have a positive income in that year. It is a little bit of a misnomer, however, though, because 3/4 of the funds associated with the federal grant for Maryland Access Point were received at the end of the year. And as you can see then in the middle column, we actually used those expenses during that year. So if you really need to look at those two in comparison, because we have a significant net asset draw in the middle column, which is the impact of receiving the funds so late. So really those two need to be combined. If you combine those two, we basically are in a negative situation using net assets year over year, which is continue to be our profile. That is also the profile for the current budget, as we are projecting a $332,403 use of net assets. A couple reasons for that. The impact of the government shutdown and changes at the federal level. We used to report to the ACL that was disbanded. Now we're reporting into the Health Human Services. And as a result, things like the federal indirect cost rate have still not been approved. So we're using what we believe is a de minimis amount for the budget because we have no idea what's going on with that. Our federal and state funding is at risk. We're assuming the funding is flat year over year for budget purposes, but we don't know. And also, one of the things that happens with this is because of the delays, we receive the funds late. So we're using funds that you all provide and also funds that we have in reserves in order to fund things until we can get to the point where we can get those funds, if we do, from the federal and state government, which puts us in a financial bind as far as cash flow. So the other thing that's going on, the new Older Americans Act regulations have put into effect in October of 2025. This unfortunately creates a big burden on the staff. There's a lot of documentation requirements that didn't exist or we didn't currently have to do that the staff now has to perform, and that takes them away from providing services to the clients. Our salary structure is down a little bit, but our staffing is the same that we're proposing for the budget. The last thing I'll mention related to staffing is we are having real retention issues. Last year, we lost 12 people, which is 33.2% of turnover in 2025. As a result, the board asked Amy and the management to get a survey done from a HR firm to determine what our salary levels are related to market. In that study, we found that none of our staff were at the 50th percentile of their market salary, which would be average salary. We found that 68.18%, or 13 people, were at 29.55 to 30 to 39%. So not even at 40%, 2/3 of our salary are at the mean level what their market salary should be. And that none of the executive positions in the firm, in our organization are even meet the 47th percentile. And then we only have 2 people that are at the 48th to 49th percentile. So we don't have one person that is, according to the expert, is meeting an average market salary, which now you can understand is why we're having the turnover that we're having. Since in the past 2.5 to 3 years, we just luckily hired a CFO yesterday. This is our 4th one that we've had in that time period. They left for different reasons, but we clearly are having retention problems. And then the people that have the face time with the clients, our employees, what we see happening is they're young, they're coming on board for a job, and then they take the job, they train with us for a year or 2, and then they leave. And then they go to another organization where they can make more money. So this is a struggle for us. Our budget includes a 3% increase to staff across the board. However, that's, as you know, barely going to cover inflation this year. So we're trying to make these where we can, but I just want to tee that up because it's very important to the stability of our organization, along with the fact that we're using net assets just to keep the programs alive. So it's an important, thing for the commission to understand, and why our budget request is where it is, just to kind of maintain where we are. I'm going to give one more fact here. Ed mentioned 140 clients on the wait list for just getting basic food services in the county. And unfortunately, with the food, we can only use, actually have certain vendors because there's requirements on what that food has to be from a nutrition standpoint. As a result of that, for 140 people, that's $561,491 that we would need in additional funding, basically just to be able to support those 140 people that are in need of food. So, again, I know we're not just like any other organization that's struggling with inflation and other things, but I just wanted to give you a taste for some of the struggles we're having, particularly related to some of our staffing and salary. And again, that's why we're asking for the funding that we're asking for.
Well, I just want to, on behalf of the organization as treasurer, thank you for the funding. From a summary standpoint, the requested amount amounts to about 37–38% of our overall budget of just over $4.5 million. About almost 20% comes from the state. Some of that is federal pass-through funds through the state of Maryland, the programs. Another 21% comes from the federal. About 13% from local grants, and that includes also the in-kind donation by the commissioners of the rent value of the building for the senior center there. That's part of that, as was mentioned earlier, about $430,000. Our fundraising's generating about, this year we're projecting $77,000, which is down a little bit from where it had been. We're hoping we can do better with that, and your help with the gala will certainly assist us in that area. And as Tim mentioned, we're using about $332,000 of our net assets, which is about 7% of the budget. And again, as was mentioned, those delays in receiving the grant payments require that we have what, in private business we would call working capital. Enough cash that we can pay the bills and float until we can collect the receivables. And so that and the uncertainty is one of the reasons that we're somewhat conservative in how we extend ourselves. So, increases in funding will assist us in knowing that we can better serve and continue to serve more people. I just want to share that what you're seeing here is a very summarized version of our budget. Finance Committee looks at these programs in detail, and our actual budget documents are about 31 pages long, because basically what you're seeing here is sort of a summarized snapshot of everything. What we look at individually are the federal, state, and local funding components of each program individually, so that we can know that we've got enough resources to cover everything and meet the compliance requirements of the different programs. And I don't want to, take a lot of time this morning, but if anyone has any questions specifically about the budget, we can get back with you at a future date. I know your time's very valuable and challenging, and thank you all for your public service. It's a challenging job.
I just had a couple quick questions, not on the budget so much, but for people who might be listening or reviewing this meeting, if I was a senior, which I am, when you're pushing 76, I'm sure I qualify.
You do.
But what is, there's no eligibility, I guess, but what's the mechanics for a senior listening to be able to use the facility?
We'll let Amy explain that because she's so good at that. It's very simple.
So 55 and older for the senior center, and it's a free membership, so we encourage people to come out.
Okay.
And we have over 1,600 active members at the end of December. We re-register every year, and so we encourage people to come out and get a membership for that. I would also just, Randy, say, you know, we've talked a little bit about the wait list. It's really important to be proactive and get on that list before you have a critical need. Please come out, get an appointment, get it scheduled so that we can, you know, sit down with you to determine what you're eligible for.
And Amy, we do require some identification that they live in
Right.
Washington County.
They live in Washington County?
Yes.
Okay, and next question, I'll make it quick. What's your biggest two demands right now? Obviously, it's food services, right?
Yeah, for sure. I would
What's
say
the next?
staffing and food.
Staffing and food.
Yes. I can't serve people without staff.
Right.
And we're experiencing some increased time to go through an input process that is being driven by the state and some of their guidelines that they're having to deal with. So it takes longer for us to interview and see what services people might qualify for. So that's taking extra time.
Okay.
Randy, the re-registration for seniors for the senior center is so, that has to be done for our grant writing.
Gotcha.
They want to see it, they want to see that annually, so we do that annually.
And we've got to document that these people exist. So that's the requirement that we have to have people re-sign up every year. that they're still with us.
Amy, if we have someone listening out there that says, okay, how do I register? How do I get there? Public transportation does come to your facility. You may want to expand on that a little bit.
Absolutely. So there is public transportation directly to the front door of our senior center several times a day. So we encourage you to check that out. Also, I would say, you know, it's really convenient. There's wonderful parking. The layout is beautiful. The commissioners have really done a beautiful job investing in seniors in our senior center and our senior fit building. So for those of you that want to exercise, there is a senior fit building on site as well, not just activities, but, you know, everything that you can think of, from learning a new language to arts and crafts to history and education. There's all kinds of things to appeal to all different interests. So we really encourage everyone to come out and check that out.
Okay, thank you.
To follow up on some of the questions, 140 people on a wait list for food, for Meals on Wheels. What's the average approximate cost per meal that you would need for those?
So food alone is $10.
So you.
$10 a day, right?
Correct, per
so it'd be
meal.
14, okay. Another question. I think, Ed, you and I have talked about there's been like a guardianship or something. You're mandated to have so many and you're short-staffed on them,
Yes.
which leads to that waiting list. But that is a federal state mandate?
Correct, yes. So we are 24/7 court-appointed guardians of person for anyone over the age of 65 that doesn't have a responsible party. And so right now, we have 29 individuals that we are responsible for. And you can imagine how difficult that is with the complexities of healthcare and all of those advanced directives that are most likely not in place. And so we are working as best we can. We do not have an attorney in our office, so we contract those services out with local attorneys to be able to help us navigate that process, but that's very, very
But
costly.
those guardianships help immensely, but soon to be more than 29, most
Oh,
likely.
absolutely.
And there's something we can't control, where, you know, if the court mandates a guardianship, we're the agency that has to handle that.
I think we're funded for 20, we have 29, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I think we also were mandated then to put together a dementia program, is that also correct?
That is correct. So
Funding from the mandate came from the state.
it's a
However,
state
the
regulatory.
funding was very thin,
Correct,
which is an exaggeration when I say thin.
yes.
Really thin.
So we've tried to be very creative and partner. So we have a partnership with the residency program at Meritus. And so they have been really wonderful. Their residents come in and provide the education component for us for that caregiver part of those experiencing levels of dementia and what that is like, because you can imagine my staff aren't qualified to do that. So in an effort to do that very efficiently, because it's a partnership, there is no cost associated with that. We aren't exchanging funds. They are doing that as an educational piece for their students, and it's overseen by a psychiatrist and actually a geriatric psychologist, which is really exciting.
I said it was my last question, but I got one more.
Sure.
Jeff made me think of it. So you're directed, mandated for guardianship, and you're mandated for, would last wills and testaments be included in that or not?
So we have a legal services aspect to the Older Americans Act 3D requirement. So we have legal aid who comes in, and also Michael Day is the contractor we're currently using, who comes in and helps individuals work through those advanced directives, wills, things like that.
Okay. And that's
based on their
free to
need.
the people?
That is free. You just have to have an appointment. So that's why I'm saying, be proactive. Get your appointment as soon as possible for
Gotcha.
those things.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because of our staffing limitations, getting on that waiting list to get these appointments takes a while. What's our average wait time right now, Amy?
Depending on the need, it's between 4 and 6 months for an appointment.
So you want to plan ahead if possible.
And that's why I was saying staffing, right?
Right.
And
I got it.
I need it.
That was the 315 folks on the waiting list that I mentioned that were waiting for an appointment date. So if you call in today, you're going to get an appointment 4 to 5, 6 months down the road. So you have to call early, I guess, it would be the message.
Yeah, and one other point to make on that guardianship is, it was mentioned slightly about being 24/7. It is really 24/7, 7 days a week. I mean, Amy really gets calls during the weekend associated with this situation. Some can be crisis matters, so I don't want to discount how she's available.
Some are in Baltimore, is that
Yeah.
correct?
That is correct. So we have Frederick, Baltimore, Montgomery County, and it's based on placement because we don't have facilities, especially geriatric psych facilities in our area that can manage some of those behaviors. And so they have to be 6 months stable in a location before we can transfer to another county. So it requires our case manager, who is phenomenal. Many of you know her, Susan Hurd. She's amazing, but she does a lot of traveling out of state or out of county to be able to serve those individuals.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your support. Our senior center, I remember when I was younger, that was the old Armory building, and your investment in renovating that and creating our first county senior center really is remarkable. It's a wonderful adaptive reuse of an underutilized facility, and I just am amazed at our staff. They just do a tremendous job on maximizing the resources we have available. So thank you so much, and hopefully you'll give us favorable consideration to our ask this year.
And I just wanted to make a quick amendment. There's no motion today. Their budget would be approved during the formal budget process in May, so there's no motion needed today. This is informational only. Staff is still going through the budget balancing process. We will do our best to make sure that the needs are met. However, until we take a look at our revenue projections and compare it to other county operations, we're not able to determine whether any cuts will be made at this time, but we'll do our best.
Thank you.
Totally understand that.
And if you need something, you know how to reach me. So
Yes.
thank you so much. I appreciate
you,
all of
Thank
it.
you for your time and your public service.
Thank you.
Thanks for the table sponsorship for our gala. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda under tab 2 is FY25 Community Development Block Grant. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning. How's everybody today?
Wonderful.
Good. I am as well. Okay. Maria Kramer, Director of the Office of Grant Management.
Jerica Washington, Deputy Executive Director of Sanmar Family and Community Services.
Keith Van Joy, CEO of Sanmar Family Community Services.
Okay, today we're here for a move to approve submittal of a grant extension, a spend down waiver, and a budget modification for the Sanmar Community Development Block Grant. This was a grant that was applied for in May of 2024. The board previously approved it, signed a resolution, we applied, and the county received $800,000 on behalf of Sanmar. At this time, the project is running a bit behind schedule, and what we are here today is to ask for the approval to submit the items, as I stated earlier, which is to expand the grant timeframe past July 1 of this year, to do a waiver on spend down, because we currently should have spent down 50% of the $800,000, and also to submit a budget modification because Sanmar has run into the situation where it was originally submitted for the entire $800,000 for construction costs only, no soft costs at all, but they have put out quite a bit of money for soft costs, so we're asking to submit that modification to be able to reimburse them for some of the soft costs and continue forward with the project.
Questions?
I'd move to approve the submittal for grant extension, spend down waiver, and budget modification for Sanmar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Continue the good work there at Sanmar. Thank you. Next item under tab 3 is sole source contract renewal, PUR 1618, cyber intrusion detection and monitoring system for information technology department.
Good morning, Brandy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Josh O'Neill, CTO Information Systems.
The first recommendation I have for you this morning is the sole source contract renewal for PUR 1618. Move to renew the contract for cyber intrusion detection and monitoring system for the Information Technology Department for the improvement of network security in the amount of $227,512.75. The contract was for a period of 4 years. This is the last one-year renewal on this contract. The initial request was awarded by the board as a sole source procurement on April 18th, 2023. This approval is also contingent on the approval of the FY27 budget. A cyber detection and response system, such as the one we're recommending here today, detects and responds to unusual network activity. The selected vendor also includes a protection component that integrates with the county's email system to provide additional intelligence and prevention of emails designed to trick county staff into disclosing sensitive information or being misled by fraudulent transactions. Funding is available in the software budget for the operating budget for IT.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Next item under tab 4, again, is sole source procurement, PUR 1798, LifePak 35 monitor and defibrillator.
Randy Kettner, Director of Purchasing.
David Hayes, Director of Emergency Services.
David Chisholm, Deputy Director of Emergency Services.
The last recommendation is also a sole source procurement, PUR 1798. Move to authorize a sole source procurement for one LifePak 35 for the Division of Emergency Services in the amount of $61,271.44 from Stryker Medical out of Chicago, Illinois. This LifePak 35 monitor defibrillator will replace an aging device that will be placed on EMS 1812, and this will complete the upgrade of all 3 EMS supervisor vehicles to the most current technology. The Department of Emergency Services wishes to apply sections 1 through 106.2A1 and 2 of the Code of Local Public Laws of Washington County to this procurement. This section states that a sole source procurement is authorized and permissible when 1, only one source exists that meets the county's requirements, and 2, the compatibility of equipment and accessories or replacement parts is paramount to this consideration. Section 1 through 106.2B2 of the Code of Local Public Laws of Washington County requires the approval of 4 out of 5 commissioners to move forward with this procurement. Funding is available in the department's operating budget, and $24,440.50 will be reimbursed via a MEMS grant.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Next item under tab 5 is the Maryland Administrative Office of the Courts, Department of Juvenile and Family Services, approval to apply for and accept grant award.
Good morning, Richard Lesh, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Good morning, Amy Spiegler, Family Services Coordinator for Circuit Court, Washington County.
Today we are here to request a motion to approve the application and acceptance of funds in the amount of $460,004 for the Circuit Court Family Support Services funding. Each court within the state of Maryland is required by Maryland Rule 16-307 to have a Family Support Services Division to implement the goals and objectives as set forth by the Department of Juvenile and Family Services. Services funded through the grant include salary and fringe benefits for both the Family Services Coordinator and Permanency Planning Liaison, Family Law Self-Help Clinic, and when funding is available, the ADR mediation, co-parenting education classes, custody evaluations, children's best interest attorneys, mental health evaluations, parenting coordinators, substance abuse evaluations, and supervised visitation services. In the case that the amount of anticipated grant funds are not awarded, the Circuit Court Family Law Fund would request that Washington County cover the cost of salaries and benefits of the Family Services Coordinator and Permanency Planning Liaison positions. The other services would be eliminated unless other supplemental funding could be secured from Department of Family and Juvenile Services.
Questions, comments?
I was just looking at a little bit more clarification on the 200 positions if it's not, it hasn't been accepted or granted yet, right? Is that what I'm reading?
This is a yearly grant and we've done this, how many years?
Yeah. So, it's, yeah.
2 positions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Okay, next item under tab 6 is FY27 MIMS Rural Health Grant Blood Program approval to submit application and to accept awarded funding.
Richard Lesh, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
David Chisholm, Deputy Director, Division of Emergency Services.
We are here to request a motion to approve the submission of the fiscal year 2027 Rural Health Grant Blood Program application through the Maryland Institute for Emergency Medical Services System in the amount of $26,870 and accept the awarded funding. This grant will allow Washington County EMS operational program to enhance an existing program. Washington County Emergency Services wishes to use the funding to expand the current blood program to include the remaining 2 EMS supervisor vehicles. The amount requested provides for the equipment and disposables to accomplish this project. The Division of Emergency Services has placed money in the fiscal year 27 budget to cover the initial purchase of the equipment and disposables. So this grant will be used as a reimbursement of those funds expended.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Ready to vote. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, tab number 7, FY26 Operating Budget Adjustment, Clear Spring EMS Transition.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kelsey Mace, Chief Financial Officer. This morning, I have a budget adjustment for you in relation to the EMS staffing MOU with Clear Spring Ambulance Club that was approved on December 16th, 2025. Staff is requesting a budget adjustment to transfer the funds that were set aside for EMS transitions from the General Operations Department to the appropriate budget lines in the EMS Operation Department within the general fund. Additionally, and I did not include this on the ARF, this budget adjustment will also add to our EMS billing fund the anticipated revenue for billing collections and the amount anticipated to reimburse to Clear Spring Ambulance Club per the agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Next item under tab 8 is the adoption of county AI policy.
Thank you, President Barr. Zachary Kiefer, County Attorney. Commissioners, I'm presenting and requesting a motion to approve the policy for AI use by county personnel. With the increased prevalence and usage of AI in the workplace, the County Attorney's Office and IT Department have worked together to craft attached policy covering use by county personnel. That's all I have and would entertain a motion. Request a motion, excuse me.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve the artificial intelligence use policy for the county. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Thanks for all your hard work on that.
Thank you, President Barr. That's all I have.
And our, okay, next is, I need a motion to go into closed session for the reasons stated.
Motion to go in closed session.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. We'll take a 5-minute recess before we go into closed session.